Hi, hello, it's Rachel. Spoilers for season 2 of the Buccaneers, obviously. Around this time last year, I watched the first season of the Buccaneers, and I was blown away by how poignant the storytelling was and how sensitively it dealt with tough topics, especially topics like sexual abuse, and how it mostly managed to keep a lighthearted atmosphere. I was urging all of my friends to watch it, trying to pique their interest by telling them it's like if Bridgerton were actually good. I spent the past year desperately awaiting the show's second season, craving the continuation of these five girls' lives. And season 2 starts off well enough. We see Jenny struggling to accept life on the run. We see Nan being crushed by the weight of giving up Guy to save Jenny and desperately trying to make her marriage to Theo work, and also her trying to use her power for progress. We see Conchita and Richard doing their best to save the Bercy estate and provide for his mother and sister. We see Mabel and Honoria enjoying their secret romance. And Lizzie. We see Lizzie caught between a romance with the new character Hector and Theo. Honestly, the first 3 episodes are mostly good, excluding the suddenly forced, stupid Theo-Lizzie romance. But then episode 4 happened, and everything went to shit real fast. So let's start by talking about the storyline that relates to most of my issues, the Theo Nan Guy of it all, and the Theo Lizzie storyline. Obviously, one of the main plots of the first season is Nan being caught between Guy and Theo. She meets Guy, they immediately have chemistry, and they're clearly interested in each other. During their first conversation, he confides in her about the fact that his mom is dying and that he must return home to England, and they expect to never see each other again. Upon Nan and her friends receiving an invitation to go to London for the debutante season, they jump at the chance. As one expects, given Guy and Nan's meet cute, she of course runs into Guy at one of said debutante balls. Theo also notices her at the same event for her lack of propriety as she tells off a man for a misogynistic comment. Shortly after this, Nan meets Theo at his castle, for lack of a better word, and she's charmed by him as he introduces himself as an artist. Theo is also immediately enamored with Nan, since she doesn't know that he's the Duke, and as he's bored of his lifestyle and rebelling against his mother in small ways, he loves the idea of marrying someone who isn't interested in his title. Nan and Guy spend some time together, and because things just feel so simple and easy and safe, she confides in him about the fact that she's the product of one of her father's affairs. Given the way Guy leaves, Nan feels rejected, and as she's processing the heartbreak of that, Theo proposes. Nan hesitates to accept upon learning he's the Duke because she knows she'd have to hide the truth about her birth, and as she generally doesn't care about high society, she's not sure she'd fit into that life anyway.
For Miss St. George? From the Duchess. Oh, this thing must be 5 million years old. Wow. Let's see.
But because Theo's clearly very taken with her, the rejection, well, perceived rejection from Guy, and women's limited options in that time period, she agrees. Guy, in his agony, writes a letter to Nan, not in an attempt to win Nan's heart, as he knows she is engaged to Theo, but because he can't keep these feelings to himself and he wants to reassure Nan that he doesn't judge her for her parentage. Theo sees the letter and assumes it's meant for him and reads it, which, sure, fine, since the show claims they are best friends, I guess that's fair enough. But then Theo keeps it from Nan. Because of Nan's parentage, she can never be fully relaxed with Theo, she can never be fully herself. But she still feels hurt by Guy disappearing after she shared that secret, and she's already agreed to the marriage, so she's trying to make their relationship work. But Theo, being a petulant, entitled man-child, now sees winning Nan's affections as a competition. And as a petulant, entitled man-child with obscene amounts of wealth and power, his ego cannot take Guy winning over him. And let me just insert some scenes to make my point better than I can verbally express it.
Sorry, is this...
Lady Hopely?
The front door was open and there was no one to...
Jean, what are you doing here?
The invitation implied it was a big party, but it seems you're renovating. Am I very late or perhaps early?
Ah, the guest of honor. How nice to see you, Lady Hopely. Guy was just telling me how much he was looking forward to your arrival. Now, Jean, has he not offered to help with your luggage? He's a brute, of course, but he improves when you get to know him.
My apologies. Lost track of time. Theo, would you mind helping me? Thank you. Well, that was embarrassing for everyone concerned.
I wouldn't have asked her if I'd known it was an intimate gathering.
Well, why are you inviting people on my behalf?
I thought you might want to get to know her better.
You never wanted to.
Well, I'm a well-known idiot, of course. Also, Jean's quite lovely, don't you think? Beautiful and from a very respectable family. Why wouldn't you want to get to know her? It's not as though you're getting to know anyone else.
I hope Jean's all right. She seemed a little uncomfortable.
I'm sure Guy's made her feel at ease. He seems to be giving her a very thorough tour of that bedroom.
Why'd you let Jean think the invitation came from Guy?
Well, I doubt she'd have come had she known it was from me. And just because I didn't want it doesn't mean Jean isn't a perfectly good choice for Guy.
Well, she's not a hat that you can just toss around just because it doesn't suit you.
No, I know
It's humiliating to show up uninvited.
No more humiliating than facing another season unmarried. Why are you getting so upset about this? The Guy's my dearest friend. Don't we both want him to be as happy as we are?
Yes, of course. And I want Jean to be happy even more.
And then what exactly is the problem? Oh, we were just about to start a game of poker. Are you in?
Oh, I don't know.
No obligation, of course. I know it's more of a risk for some than others, financially. Nan, you'll play, though. You're not having to be careful with money. You know I have a 15-year winning streak.
You've beaten me every single day of our lives. In a number of ways. Doesn't mean you always will.
A lot of money. Congratulations. I'm glad it worked out for you. Perhaps now you can hire some of your old servants back. I think we all know they're not on leave.
Theo.
Or maybe you could even stop looking for that rich American bride you've been after. That was your plan, wasn't it? When you went to New York? Save the family fortunes with a wealthy match? Isn't that right? All you needed was a few lucky hands.
I haven't put my cards down yet.
I win. Which is strange, because it feels like I have absolutely nothing. At all.
So, Theo tries to force Guy and Jean into a relationship as a passive-aggressive way to tell Guy to find someone else. He clearly doesn't give a fuck about Jean's actual feelings since he's treating her like a prop. He mocks Guy for his lack of money and goads him into playing that poker game. And then he can't even fucking handle Guy winning a goddamn hand of poker. Look at his body language when Guy puts down those cards. He is fuming that Guy beat him. And this game means nothing to him. The money that he lost means nothing to him. And his ego still cannot take this. So he lashes out. He insinuates to Nan that Guy's interest in her was solely for her money, as if the letter doesn't prove otherwise, and as if money isn't the reason every other fucking male character we meet wants to get married. Hell, Richard married Conchita in part for her money. The fact that the narrative tries to frame Guy even considering marrying for money as a betrayal is so fucking stupid and insulting when that factor is not being held against Richard. Like, literally, the only person in the whole story who is not marrying for money is Theo. And that's because he's the fucking Duke. God, that poker scene makes my blood fucking boil. And the fact that Theo dares to claim that Guy is his best friend and he treats him like this, that he needs to make Guy feel inferior, that he needs to make a point about how he is the best and most perfect option for Nan. Theo is the villain of this show. There is nothing the writers can do after this scene to make me think otherwise. There is nothing the writers can do to make me feel anything other than contempt towards this absolute piece of shit. And honestly, I could do a whole video essay solely about how season 1 repeatedly hits you over the head that Guy and Nan is the romance of the show. Because apparently fandom just does not fucking understand the basics of narrative writing, but I will not get into that today. Before I continue recounting season 1, because we just saw the poker scene, it needs to be said that there are very obvious racial implications to Theo and Guy's dynamic too. Like, I do not see how anyone can watch the vast majority of their interactions and not get a vibe of Theo trying to remind Guy of his inferiority and put him in his place. And I guarantee the writers saw fandom's obsession with Theo, and that is why they fucking pivoted to giving him nuance and trying to portray him as actually a good man, just not the right man for Nan. That is why they forced a romance with Lizzie out of fucking nowhere, and honestly, that development just fucking makes it look like a pattern that he only becomes interested in women when he learns that someone else has feelings for them. I mean, look at this.
My dearest Nan, my feelings for you can no longer be kept secret. I am weak, and I am confused. But Nan, my love for you is neither.
Theo, slow down, slow down. Are you okay? Has something happened?
I love you. Nan. Do you want me? Do you want me? I want you to say it.
Yes. Yes, I do. I want you.
I was just looking for Nan. I guess you'll be the first person that I get to tell.
Hector.
Yes, of course.
If Hector Robinson was marrying any other girl in the land, I'd say she was a lucky woman. But you, he's entirely unworthy of you.
Why would you say that?
Because you're sensational. But Hector's a perfectly agreeable man, handsome and with prospects, so Mrs. Robinson will live an entirely pleasant life.
What's wrong with pleasant?
Well, I believe you're settling for anything less than exceptional would be an extraordinary waste.
Because yes, it's so healthy to use relationships as a competition to prove your superiority. God, these writers can go fuck themselves for trying to gaslight me into liking this fucking demon. If Theo has no haters, I am dead. Anyway, back to the plot. Guy decides to properly try a relationship with Jean because she is lovely, and Nan has firmly chosen Theo. Nan's status is disclosed to Theo's mother, Blanche, and we get this moment.
So, if the Duchess knows, does that mean...
I'm not getting married. You can be quite certain of that.
And how do you feel? How do you feel about not getting married?
Relieved. I didn't expect to say that.
How do you feel? Relieved. Knowing that the marriage can no longer happen, she feels relieved. Because every moment with Theo, she is living a lie. She might enjoy spending time with Theo, but she very clearly does not want to marry him. The show literally cannot make it any more blatant. But then Theo unexpectedly accepts that she's illegitimate, although granted, he does already know this because of the letter. So the wedding is still happening. The wedding is literally days away, and Theo is still a fucking insecure, jealous jackass, and he throws the letter in Guy's face.
Specifically my future wife and your inability to stay away from her.
Nan and I are friends.
You and I have been friends a long time, in theory. And you never once sent me a telegram declaring love.
You've known all this time and you didn't say.
That's right. I'm the villain. Not the man sending love letters to his best friend's fiancée. Well, it didn't work. She chose me.
Did she?
He's such an insecure piece of shit, oh my god. Guy should have hit that motherfucker harder. As we all know, this confrontation leads to Guy reciting his letter to Nan. Things between her and Theo are really awkward after this, and Guy makes one last plea for Nan's heart, and she decides to abandon it all. But then she can't because Jenny. Jenny comes to her deeply afraid, bruised, her life is clearly in danger, and how can Nan possibly prioritize her romantic life over Jenny's safety? And the girls understand this. They understand and they are by her side. They walk down the aisle with Nan. They know that the only way Nan can offer protection is through the title of Duchess, that is her only power. So let's continue following Nan's perspective for a moment. The plan is to find a way to legitimately bring Jenny home and reunite with Guy. Jenny's abusive husband comes to threaten Nan, and so she panics and goes to Blanche, asking about Jenny and Guy's location. Blanche makes it clear that Jenny will never be able to come home again. So now Nan has to endure the heartache of never seeing her sister or the man she's in love with ever again, and she's trying to make her marriage work so she doesn't crumble under the despair. But then...
Theo, wait,
So
please.
Guy was here. He was here the night before the wedding. But why did he come?
To talk to me.
And Guy was still here the next morning. So what happened then? What happened during that night apart from talking? Was he in your bed?
Theo.
This has nothing to do with you, Mother. I can't hear you. Say it!
Yes. Guy was in the castle. Guy was in my bed.
But it makes no sense. Guy came to you, you welcomed him. He left in the carriage, your sister was in it. Why weren't you? Your heart was with Guy, so why weren't you?
We were going to run, all of us.
Why didn't you, Nan? Why didn't you?
I realized I had no power to protect my sister unless we were married. I needed your title.
Of course he throws a fucking tantrum. If Theo has no haters, I am dead. Anyway, Theo disappears for a week, and when he comes back, he tells his mother that he refuses to live with Nan any longer. Blanche reluctantly offers the solution of producing an heir, and this is how Theo takes that advice.
Theo? You came back. I'm glad. Not having been able to talk to you has been horrible. I want to try and make you see.
Say you want me.
I want you. Theo.
I can't. I can't live with you. I can't look at you. And God help us both. I can't divorce you. But the institution will accept our separation. You can leave the castle once, Once
what?
Once there's an heir.
This literal fucking demon was going to let Nan believe he had forgiven her solely for the purpose of impregnating her so he could throw her out once the baby was born. The only reason he couldn't go through with it is that he's so repulsed by his belief that Nan schemed this whole plot for his title. And the writers want me to believe this man isn't the biggest villain of the show? They want me to think Theo is a good person? Y'all are out of your fucking minds. Nan, understandably feeling insulted and degraded, gets the fuck out of there to go find Guy. But after a few days, Nan is reminded of Jenny's predicament, that she can never return home because the laws are on Seaton's side. And Nan can't abandon her sister, so she tells Guy that she's going back to Tintagel, to his very understandable frustration. So let's look at Guy's perspective for a second. Guy had plans to travel around the world like he'd always dreamed. He was hopefully going to do that with Nan because she was planning to leave with him. And he abandoned those plans to protect Jenny. He's making the best he can of this life, but obviously he misses Nan terribly. When Nan comes, he gets a glimpse of the life that they were going to have, that they should have had. But then reality snatches it away again. And as Guy thinks this is the last time he will ever see Nan, he's understandably angry, hurt, and depressed. The writers then create a situation of him fucking the one woman he and Jenny have befriended, And then a few minutes later, we learn that they also got drunkenly married. As frustrating as I find this subplot, I honestly don't even hate the concept of Guy sleeping with another woman in a state of despair after Nan left. I honestly think it's fair for him to be in such a low state that he would just do something stupid and self-destructive, like sleeping with someone else. But the way it's executed is just frustrating as hell. The reason why it rubs me so fucking wrong the way it's executed is because it's just so blatant that it's meant to be a roadblock for him and Nan. It's not about his pain and him doing a stupid action because of his pain. It's about the writers introducing another reason for him and Nan to not be together. Like, it's just so obvious and so unnecessary, and just like, there's already so much shit in the way of Guy and Nan. But no, the writers had to throw in a drunken marriage too. Exhausting. Now let's talk about Theo's perspective and get into the bullshit that is Theo Lizzie. So, firstly, let me just say that as someone who rewatched season 1 specifically for the purpose of making this video, Theo and Lizzie basically never interacted in the first season. I think they shared one exchange in the whole season, and it's cordial, obviously, but they're clearly not close. And yet, season 1 finale is Nan's wedding day. Season 2 premiere is later on Nan's wedding day. And Theo and Lizzie suddenly have a flirtatious dynamic.
Lizzie, I don't suppose you've seen Nan.
She was here a moment ago.
Ah.
It's a lovely party. The dancing and the drinks. You don't need me to explain parties.
I've been to a few I'd like an explanation for.
So.
I know. Cheers. Hector Robinson.
Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Upstanding citizen, member of parliament, and that jawline. I'm going to find Nan.
Now, I know Lizzie is aware that Nan doesn't love Theo, but even so, girl, how the hell are you flirting back with the husband of one of your best friends? I would be disgusted if her friend's partner tried to flirt with me like this. And to make matters worse, it's at their literal wedding ceremony? And again, it's out of nowhere. I literally do not have any scenes I can show from season 1 to compare how their dynamic changed, because they literally don't fucking interact in the first season. But now they're flirting on his wedding day? Hello? Anyway, in the next episode, the show finds bullshit reasons to force Theo and Lizzie to be alone together, and they flirt more. It's nauseating. The episode after that, Lizzie gets engaged to Hector. Theo has just returned from his disappearance in response to learning about Nan and Guy, and Lizzie is incredibly excited about her engagement, and I've already shared that scene where she tells Theo. And Theo is married, and he saw how happy Lizzie was, and he had the audacity to give this speech. This speech is so fucking out of line. It's out of line even if he's not married, because Lizzie is happy with Hector. So he should not be butting in. But then you add in the fact that he's married to one of her best friends. And he's giving Lizzie a speech saying that Hector isn't worthy of her, with the obvious implication that Theo thinks he is worthy of Lizzie, and also the insinuation that he has feelings for her. And again, this is his behavior because he is hurt by Nan's actions and he is lashing out. He is saying this right now because he is angry at Nan and he wants to get back at her. And this becomes explicitly clear at the end of the episode because he learned that his mother was the one who convinced Nan to go through with the wedding. And the next time he sees Lizzie, he tries to rescind this speech. He is such a fucking manipulative jackass. Some time passes since Nan ran off to Italy. Lizzie and Hector are making the final arrangements for their wedding, and Hector is holding an auction for a school. Theo shows up, flaunts his money by offering 10 times what the highest bidder offered for the current item, and then the majority of the people at the auction start fawning over him. And then there's this scene with Lizzie because she's worried about him.
There's been a lot to organize with the fundraiser and the wedding. But how have you been? That's not a ridiculous question.
Numb. At first. But now I've never felt more alert.
You don't have to say that.
Actually, it's more than alert. It's like I've been underwater for months, and I've finally broken the surface. I can breathe again. And my wife left me. It happens.
Just because it happens doesn't mean it's not painful.
My life isn't over, Lizzie. In fact, I think it might just be getting started.
I can breathe again. My life isn't over. In fact, I think it might just be getting started. I'm supposed to believe he ever gave a fuck about Nan when he says that? Go to hell. And God, I'm gonna talk about crappy writing in general in a later segment, but this is relevant right now. So let's compare the Guy Nan first kiss to the Theo Lizzie first kiss.
What did the telegram say?
Excuse me?
Well, of course. As so often, you're in every way quite intolerable. Where do you find the audacity?
Lizzie?
What? What do you want?
An explanation of what I've done wrong might be a start.
What are you doing here?
I am engaged to your best friend.
That is not in any way news to me.
Happily engaged, I should add. Why should I even speak to you? After you left me at Runnymede, I told you my most precious secret and you couldn't run away fast enough.
But I came back to apologize. I came back almost immediately and you're already engaged.
Well, how convenient.
I was invited, so forgive my thinking I was welcome.
You know, I'd all love to be able to do that, to swoop in and be the hero.
It was hardly heroic. I was bidding like everybody else. I thought you'd be grateful.
Excuse me.
For the school, for my supporting of the school.
You caused all of this confusion with the wood chopping and with the grand speeches about how you want to fall in love with someone who's your equal. How dare you?
Nan, listen,
No, it's too late. Where was all of this, these feelings and the confusion when we first met?
When you climbed out of a window above me?
Yes.
When we danced down a staircase?
Yes.
When we looked at each other? When we laughed? When it felt like we immediately knew each other and that anything was entirely possible? That together, we could go anywhere. Or do anything. It wouldn't matter if we were in a palace or a tree, as long as we were laughing and dancing and kissing and discovering and kissing again.
Hector has been fundraising for 5 years, Theo. You haven't even come before today. Hector's right. This whole thing has been all about you and your bruised ego because you can't handle the fact that anyone would ever leave you, the Duke, and the extraordinary prize that is you.
When I realized, Nan, that I am desperately in love with you, and I have been since the first second I set eyes on you.
Perhaps I shouldn't have come.
Perhaps you shouldn't have come. So why did you?
You know full well.
Do you see how it's an empty imitation? I just know the writer's room felt so fucking smart for the Theo Lizzie scene, but it's embarrassing. So let's really dissect why this is so grotesque. Nan is frustrated with Guy because she still hasn't forgiven him for Runnymede. That's the crux of their issue. She felt he had abandoned her, and she doesn't feel like she can trust him, so she's mad that she has feelings for him when he made her feel that way. This is understandable and good tension, because we know he doesn't have a problem with her parentage. We know he's keeping the secret from Theo and Blanche, but as Nan didn't see the letter, she doesn't believe that he's accepted that. And then Guy, the romantic that he is, gives a wonderful speech about their connection, and then when he says he loves Nan, that's the tipping point and she can't resist her feelings anymore, so she kisses him. And then the Theo-Lizzie scene? Theo shows up at Hector's auction, throwing his money around to prove how superior he is to Hector, since he wants Lizzie's attention. Also, I thought you'd be grateful. Oh my god, he cannot turn off the condescension. I know I've already said this a couple times, but if Theo has no haters, I'm dead. Hector's right, this whole thing has been all about you and your bruised ego. Literally, that's just true. That's just why he's there. Like, fine, sure, yes, he has feelings for Lizzie, but a large part of it is literally about his ego. So it's very understandable why Lizzie is pissed off, but this is not good romantic tension, because she is literally pointing out how goddamn self-centered and egotistical he is, which should be a huge turnoff. And then she asks why he came, and the writers are thankfully at least self-aware enough to know there's no fucking foundation for him to say he loves her. So they have him say, you know why, with the implication being sexual tension, I guess. And then they make out. God, it's so forced and inorganic and stupid. And I want to throw up. Anyway, whatever. Like I said, it's fucking embarrassing to compare the two scenes, because the Theo-Lizzie scene is fucking dumb. But unsurprisingly, Theo and Lizzie start an affair after this. As I've already mentioned, Nan realized the importance of continuing to be the Duchess, and why it's necessary to pass laws that will protect Jenny. So she comes back to Theo and offers a genuinely fair proposal of staying until the law has passed and Jenny has returned safely, and then leaving Tintagel so they can have the lives they actually want, while making appearances as the Duchess when needed. Theo tries to convince Lizzie to leave Hector, even though he can't offer her anything because he's married, and while he stops trying to encourage her to leave Hector to continue their affair, he still pushes her to reconsider the marriage and walk away if she doesn't fully love Hector. So, unsurprisingly, Lizzie doesn't go through with the wedding. Things cool down between the two of them for a literal episode, and then they're back to this whole, I won't be your mistress, and we can't be together in public, but I want you nonsense, where they keep being overly intimate, considering Theo is the Duke, and there's constantly a lot of attention on him, and Lizzie's like, we can't be together, but that's not stopping them from being all up in each other's space in a way that's not platonic. And they learned of the affair via one of Lizzie's earrings that she lost at Tintagel. And the finale, dear fucking God. Nan won't speak to Guy after learning about his marriage because his wife has come to England. She's changed her mind about the agreement with Theo to leave Tintagel, and confronts Lizzie about the affair.
Nan? Nan, I'm so sorry. Nan, could we just... I think we should just talk. Nan? 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 Nan, I've been desperate...
What?
...to talk to you ever since...
Since you encouraged me to go to Italy.
I didn't encourage... I said
Since
that I
you
had...
followed my husband to my home.
Nan, you and Theo were finished. You said that you weren't coming back.
Since you lay with my husband in our bed.
I betrayed you. I can't forgive myself for that. But I need you to understand that I would never have entertained the notion of Theo if I wasn't certain that you and him were done. Otherwise, I would have never allowed myself to love him.
You love him. Does he love you?
I think that's a question for him.
Is my husband in love with you?
He says so. But Nan, I will always choose you.
You made the choice weeks ago, and it was not me. And you do not get to make any more choices. The next choice is mine.
Why? Why don't I get to make more than one choice? Because you have made a lot of choices this last year, Nan. First you chose Theo, then Guy. Oh, then Theo, and then Guy
I chose
again.
to protect my sister.
Right. You've made the almighty sacrifice to live in the squalor of this castle. So you could have the satisfaction of telling yourself, and the rest of us every 5 minutes, that you saved your sister. You had slept with Theo's best friend, with your wedding dress hanging in your room. And all the rest of us did was love you and support you and understand you at every turn and every choice.
Is that all you did, or did you sleep with my husband? If someone had asked me to pick one person I would trust, someone I knew who would never lie to me, I would have said you, Lizzie. That's who everyone thinks you are, but you know what? I think the world deserves to know the truth.
And I do not have the words for how despicable I find this scene. Lizzie, who again supported Nan in this marriage, knowing that this was the only way any of them could offer Jenny protection, knowing the huge sacrifice that Nan made to be able to offer that protection in the first place. Lizzie, who also firsthand experienced Stephen's abuse and his threats to try to keep her silent. They all just witnessed, smear campaign that got Jenny locked up in a psychiatric hospital. Richard literally fucking died to save Jenny. And yet Lizzie has the audacity to chastise Nan for faltering and feeling like the burden of giving up Guy to protect Jenny was too much at times. Lizzie saw all this injustice happening around them, experienced some of this injustice herself. And she saw Nan pushing for real, actual change to make every woman safer. And she holds it against Nan for coming back to Theo because she needed the title of Duchess to do any of this? Nan is better than me. I would have fucking started swinging. But here's where everything goes off the fucking rails. Nan, in her desperation and frustration, threatens to divulge the affair to the newspapers, and it is so fucking out of character that I cannot begin to imagine how the writers ever considered this as a plot line. But Nan does indeed blackmail Lizzie and Theo, and the reason why is that she's pregnant. She feels like she's lost Guy. She learned one of her best friends is having an affair with her husband, and that they're apparently in love. She's about to be forced out of Tintagel. Of course she feels like she's lost control of everything, and she's frantic to find a piece of safety for her and the baby. But the writers literally have Nan threaten to blackmail the two of them, so the narrative can paint Theo and Lizzie as victims. And they fucking aren't. I mean, firstly, there is never any situation where Theo, as one of the wealthiest and most powerful people in all of England, is the victim. Oh, you found out your wife doesn't love you and she married you for your title because she wants to pass laws to protect other women? Cry me a fucking river, you're not a victim. Theo was the one who proposed when he barely knew her and was very adamant about pursuing her. He was the one who turned his relationship with Nan into a competition with Guy and was trying to fucking prove that he was superior. Also, Theo could have done something to help progress women's rights, so Nan never would have been in this position in the first place. But does he care to do that? No, of course not. While the writers don't care to show us any of what Nan actually does to help make these laws a reality, that doesn't negate the work she has been doing with Hector. Because these laws didn't exist yet. Women's only options were to get married and become their husband's property, or become a governess like Miss Tessvalley. That was all they could do. So at the end of season 1, Nan's options were marry Theo, which she had already agreed upon, or run away with Guy and have the picturesque fairy tale. But then when Jenny comes to her, beaten and desperate, of course Nan prioritizes her. How can she damn Jenny to a life being on the run and always looking over her shoulder, when she can marry Theo and have one of the only titles that allows women any modicum of power? How can she turn her back on that when she can actually make progress happen? And I'm supposed to view Nan as in the wrong? No! Fuck off! And Lizzie claiming to be a victim? I have to fucking laugh. Girl, you made the choice to initiate a relationship with Theo when you were engaged. You talk about Nan having sex with Guy with her wedding dress in the same room. You did the exact same fucking thing. You went into this affair knowing he was married and that while Nan may have been gone from Tintagel for good, that she would still be the Duchess in name and that you wouldn't be able to be with Theo publicly. Like, for fuck's sake, she literally did not call off the wedding until the day of because Theo's stupid speech. Lizzie went into this knowing there was no fucking future, and she's fucking blaming Nan. Fuck off. These writers cannot be serious. But anyway, I just do not understand why Nan doesn't just tell Theo she's pregnant. Like, this whole situation is just so fucking forced. Nan claims she would never tell the papers, which I do believe, but she threatens to do so because she's desperate to stay at Tintagel. If she just told Theo she was pregnant, he would let her stay and protect her, if only for the baby's sake. And as much as I loathe him, I don't think he would force her to leave after giving birth, since they've become cordial since she's returned. Like, just, what the hell is the logic? There's no fucking sense to this development. It's literally just to paint Theo and Lizzie as victims. I do kind of expect part of the reason the writers didn't want Nan to tell Theo about the pregnancy, though, and have it publicly announced, is because I guarantee it's going to be guys. And the public embarrassment if she were to announce an heir for Tintagel and then it's not Theo's baby. Yikes. Also, just from a narrative standpoint, the writers have to properly untangle Nan from Theo, and if it's Theo's child, they literally can't. There is no way she's keeping the baby a secret unless she's being written off, and as she is quite literally the lead, I find it very hard to believe that the writers would do that. So if the baby isn't secret, if she doesn't miscarry, because I guess that's also an option, Theo and his mother will find out about the child. And if it's Theo's, like Nan says to Lizzie, that child will be forced to carry on the duties of Tintagel. She and Theo will be linked together forever. Something that clearly neither of them want at this point. Like, it just makes no fucking sense for the baby to actually be Theo's. But then again, barely anything made sense about the second half of the season, so maybe the writers would fucking do that just for shock value. Who fucking knows at this point? Let's just move on to the other fuckery. So in Season 1, Conchita is introduced as vibrant and unrestrained. Upon returning to the Brindlesea estate, after her and Richard's wedding, Conchita feels suffocated by Richard's parents as they clearly don't approve of her because they're racist. She tries to mold herself into an ideal lady to win their approval, but that doesn't work. Conchita and Richard rightfully separate because she refuses to put up with his family after seeing how quickly they warm up to Jenny while still mistreating her. Richard also feels stifled by his parents, and as we learn near the end of the season, he's dealing with the trauma of having been groomed into a relationship with Miss Tess Valley, the governess who's supposed to take care of all the Brindlesea children. And upon learning that his mother knew about his relationship with Miss Tess Valley, and that she feared the two of them running off together and bringing shame to the Brindlesea name, not about the fact that he was groomed, Richard finally finds the courage to stand up to his mother, and we have this fantastic scene.
Babies are best left to either sleep or cry it out.
What about adults?
Honoria, would you like to join us for a drink?
Honoria's happy to stand and take in the room, thank you. She doesn't believe in drawing attention to herself.
I'm sorry, might Honoria speak for herself? And might you perhaps resist making Conchita feel uncomfortable?
Your wife has a great deal to learn about our ability in this country to stand upright in the face of...
I may never have stood upright. Except for a few months last summer in New York with Conchita, and in fact, there's a strange feeling in the backs of my shoulder blades right now. What is this? I almost feel like dignity.
No.
For my entire life, Mother, you've avoided checking on me. You've chosen silence. We're stepping back from all of this. So I am happy to now remove every last shred of joy and noise from your home. My family and I will no longer be part of yours.
Oh, good luck. Entirely on your own.
I am severing ties, Mother. Full financial independence on both sides. I'm putting my family first. Oh, and don't be tempted to check on me later, as my wife and I intend not to be upright for much more of this evening. Anything you'd like to add, my love?
I have never loved your son more.
Literally, this might be my favorite scene of the whole show. I love it so much. Unfortunately, the show backtracks before the season 1 finale is even over by having the Brittlesea patriarch informing Richard that he's dying and likely only has weeks left to live, telling Richard it's his responsibility to take over the estate. This forces Conchita to start a business of helping young ladies search for a husband to get money to support the rest of Richard's family. Honestly, this is basically what her screen time is devoted to for the first half of the season. It's entertaining enough, but there's not really any substance. And then the writers kill off Richard in one of the stupidest fucking scenes. So, Conchita and Richard were the only stable drama-free couple in season 2, and the writers kill them off. The black woman is the one who has to deal with her husband being murdered, is widowed as a mother to a toddler, and she still has to deal with Richard's vile racist mother. And the fact that this is the ending for a man who was sexually abused as a child, he experienced horrific abuse growing up, and is a genuinely kind, warm person, and that's rewarded with him being murdered when he's just found comfort and happiness. These two characters aren't allowed a happily ever after. These writers can truly go to hell. Beyond the writers deciding to take away the man that Conchita loves, they also completely remove her friendship with Nan. Like, look at these interactions.
Come, Conchi.
Are you alright?
I didn't love him because he was a lord, darling, did I? Now it's like he's not even a man. We boarded that ship Equals, and it's like every inch he got closer to home, he just got further away from me. Oh, God, I'm so happy that you're here. Listen, Nan. When this baby comes, will you...
I will be here.
Yeah.
I will be here. Of course I will.
Good.
Yeah.
Because it's an actual baby. How do you even... It's gonna look like me. You lucky baby. That's virtually the whole point of babies, but it's not gonna look like them. What if they look at my baby the same way they look at me?
Well, I will be here. I promise you that.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Oh, Nan.
They tell you while you're young.
What's wrong?
I'm not the kind of wife that needs him to notice my new gloves.
Of course not.
Or sit adoringly watching me sleep. But I do watch my baby as she sleeps. God. Nan, ever since she was born, I've been such a mess. You know, she needs me, and they won't even let me be with her. And also, everything hurts, and I just feel so...
Have you talked to Dick?
Oh, God, I want him to desire me, not pity me. Certainly not. The absolute worst. Be ashamed of me.
Gee. You have to tell Dick that you still love him.
Nan, this isn't about me and Dick. This is about you and Guy and...
And Theo. About to get married, and that's what makes all of this
Are
so...
you certain? Are you quite certain?
Oh, I thought so. How can you ever be certain? The way he talked about Jean today, it was like she was a possession, and meanwhile, Guy, he's...
Oh, he's so charming.
Yes.
Considerate.
Yes, and he's so easy.
He's one of us.
And how infuriating is that? What business does Guy have sending me telegrams about...
But how he loves you.
Yes, how dare he?
I
Because that's
know.
all I can think about, and I need to know what is in that stupid telegram.
I think you do. Nan, just be careful. And be sure.
It is kind of exciting, though. It is.
In season 2, Conchita and Nan interact in like maybe 3 scenes, and we get nothing to demonstrate closeness. Conchita barely interacts with the girls except a few scenes with Mabel, since her mother wanted Conchita to help her find a husband. And I guess she also has a couple emotionally fraught scenes with Jenny because Richard was murdered for trying to save her from his brother. She has a few really nice moments with Honoria after Richard dies. But that's it. And she doesn't seem to have her own family to rely on either, given her father's rash decision forced her into this current position of creating this business. So the writers really said, fuck a support system, Conchita doesn't need that. In season 1, we had the beautiful Mabel Honoria journey. Mabel, who is completely confident and comfortable with her identity, flirts a little bit with Honoria, and this leads Honoria to realize she's a lesbian, and they become intimate. Mabel is terrified at the prospect of a relationship because she knows they'd have to hide it, but she wants to continue this so badly that she plans to enter a lavender marriage with a friend, as that's the only way she'd be able to stay in England. Honoria is hurt by this plan and voices her frustration, and Mabel eventually backs out of the marriage upon learning that this friend is expecting the two of them to have children at some point. And the relationship is wrapped up with this lovely scene.
I talked to Miles. I'm not getting married. I know you and I won't get any of this. We won't get any of their world, not really. Not in a way we deserve, but perhaps if we can be brave, we can make our own world. And maybe it'll be better.
And then in season 2, we get a few scenes of them being domestic, but they really have minimal screen time. And then episode 5 introduces the possibility of Honoria leaving for France, and Mabel encourages her to go as she doesn't want to deny Honoria from all the different types of life experiences. And that's pretty much the last scene we get touching on their romance until Honoria tells her mom she's going to France, and she gives Mabel a goodbye kiss in front of her mom to demonstrate that she's becoming more brave and not willing to take her mom's bullshit anymore. Which, I mean, good for her, but maybe it's just me to say that this felt wildly out of character. Like, I guess her mom can't do anything since Conchita runs the estate now, but it just felt off in a way I can't verbalize. And it also kind of sucks that she came out to her friends to spite her mom instead of it being a moment of joy. I don't know. Again, I can't figure out how to verbalize why it feels so wrong. On top of this, in season 1, Mabel's mother finds out about Mabel liking girls as she walks in on Mabel with a maid, and she is not accepting of it. This was already obvious by the way she pretended to be unaware of Mabel's attraction to women, but it's made painfully clear in season 2, episode 3 with this scene.
How was it with your mother?
She's infuriating and will never, ever understand me.
So she's a mother then?
Isn't it a relief, though? That the most important person in our lives these days is each other?
Conchita, I believe you're the person I need to ask with regards to making matches.
So they say?
You know, Mabel tries to resist.
Mabel?
She's a sweet girl, really. It's just, she's gotten so good at hiding it. She needs a little help adjusting her instincts.
I don't know, that wouldn't
She
feel...
does so want to be happy. I'm thinking double your usual fee.
Like, It's just very blatantly homophobic. Her mom is very clearly determined for Mabel to follow the expectation of marrying a man. And then just 2 episodes later, there's whatever the fuck this is.
Only me left unmarried, so I think I might come home to New York.
And just give up?
I think it might be easier.
Montreal.
What?
I went to Montreal when I was small. And I thought, well, it doesn't get better than this. The buildings, the people. I thought I could stay here till I die, until I'm old and can't speak. Because that's what you do when you're young. You find a home in these places, like Montreal. And it feels like you won't fit in anywhere else. Then someone says, you there with the plain brown hair and the thick ankles, you want to come to New York with me? Or Coney Island or London? You think, no, I only want to go back to Montreal. Do you discover that the world is beautiful, wild, and gloriously huge? And Montreal's not the only place in it. It's just the first one you fell in love with. Oh, disappointment mustn't stop you living, Mabel. Don't give up. Life is tough and wonderful. Like you.
And I know what the intention of this scene is, but what the actual fuck is her mom even saying? I know this scene is supposed to be her mom coming to terms with Mabel's identity and accepting her, but this is the most incoherent analogy of all time. And I'm supposed to believe this woman hired Conchita to purposely break up Mabel and Honoria, and then she sees Mabel moping, and it's like, never mind, homophobia has been banished from my body. Like, I literally cannot wrap my mind around this scene. I've watched it a dozen times, and it still confuses the hell out of me. I've seen people question if AI wrote season 2, and honestly, this scene really makes me wonder, because what the hell was this word salad of nonsense? And one last moment of Mabel's that I want to mention, even though it's a really tiny thing, just because it really bothers me. So after Honoria leaves, the girls are at a ball and Mabel starts flirting with a guy and kisses him, basically to test if that's something she's into, and just... Huh? The girl who gave a speech about how she knew that she was supposed to get butterflies about boys and have them for girls instead needs to verify that she's not interested in men? The girl who backed out of a marriage of convenience upon learning that childbearing was still expected? She's not actually sure she has no interest in men? I'm just a very tired lesbian who doesn't want to see lesbians kissing men for the haha LOL factor. Like, it's not funny, it's just a reminder that people don't respect my identity. It's literally just there for people to laugh and be like, OMG, the lesbian kissed a man, that's so wacky. Season 2 spent far too much time on storylines not concerning the core 5. Like, for example, all the time devoted to Theo's mother. Blanche is tolerable, I guess. She was genuinely supportive of Nan before she learned about the situation of her birth and has remained a figure of guidance. And the actor who plays her is wonderful. I'd be stupid to deny that. But if you take screen time that should be going to the black woman and the lesbian played by an out trans actress, and give it to the old white woman. I'm kind of predisposed not to give a fuck about that old white woman. Not every character needs to be fleshed out. Sometimes a character has a function in the narrative, and that is all they need to be. Also, again, her storyline this season was Theo being mad at her for pushing Nan into the marriage, and then her reconnecting with her childhood sweetheart. So, like, how much does that really develop her character in the first place? And then, I've already complained so much about Theo, but literally his purpose in the first season was to be a roadblock for Guy and Nan. That is literally the reason he exists in the narrative. And season 2 is so obsessed with giving him nuance that it fucking ends up vilifying Nan because there's this whole framing of Nan used him for his title as if she had other options. I've already covered this. I'm not doing this rant again. And I could talk about inconsistencies or things that just don't make sense. Like in episode 2, we have Seaton literally try to attack Nan, and Theo has to fight him off. So, like, couldn't Theo get him arrested? With all his wealth and power, he can't do that? And then when Seaton's in jail, they could bring Jenny and Guy back. But whatever. I'd rather talk about, like, actual writing in terms of dialogue and what the writers choose to focus energy on and how it just feels so wrong. Like, everything just feels so inelegant and forced and hollow in season 2. Like, for example, there was a lot of social commentary in season 1.
We've missed you in New York, Lord Richard.
Oh, he's been far too busy to miss you. England's just bursting with activity and possibility for men. And what's wonderful for us girls is that we get to sit home and wait for them to come back. What is it tomorrow, Richard? Riding, shooting, cards?
Was looking for an escape, but I see you've already secured the best spot.
There's room for another. Isn't it utterly divine? Feeling full is just the greatest of all feelings, don't you think?
It is a good feeling. But what about love?
You only think love is better because you've been full your whole life. It's different for us.
Americans.
Women, we are taught to be hungry, to ignore that ache so that you may be as small as possible, small enough for a man to notice you. But it makes no sense. Disappearing to be seen.
Not a bit.
I can't tell you the relief since I've stopped trying to attract a husband. The relief and also the sweets.
Well, whatever's made you stop, I'm glad it's making you happy.
I'm not sure I am. There was a man that I trusted, and I shouldn't have. He made me feel ashamed and afraid. And I don't know how to change that.
Someone here in England?
No. Back in New York.
if I may. I think you may already have the answer. You didn't say you did something shameful. You said he made you feel ashamed.
He did. And I've been carrying that shame with me ever since. I guess perhaps that shame, it belongs to him. And it's not mine to keep. It's my choice to just to let it go.
As if we could ever actually have children.
But it's just a game.
Do you not understand? Our whole lives are pretending. Every single one of my friends gets to dance and giggle and hold hands in public the whole time, and nobody minds a bit. They don't have to be brave. They get celebrated. They get a ring and a party, and they have parents that can bear to look at them. Honoria, this isn't new to me. None of this. And in fact, it bores me. Pretending bores me.
Meanwhile, season 2 likes to give nice sounding, but empty, soapbox speeches.
May I actually speak? Because, believe it or not, I have plenty to say. Mr. Hector Robinson is fighting to give a voice to all working men. Yet, what a novelty. How staggering for even one woman to be allowed to have a voice. A working man should be able to own his own land. True. But no man should be allowed to own his wife. To choose her like an ornament, or to gradually erase her like she's some mistake. In a world where a woman's safety is far from guaranteed, even in her own home. It is my fight to make sure that she is at least believed and heard, and that any man who threatens that safety will feel the full force of what he deserves. I seem to have an audience. I seem to have a voice, and I will use it.
Mrs. Patricia St. George, would you state for the court the grounds on which you are petitioning for divorce?
Adultery.
The court may well wonder why. After 22 years of seemingly happy and profitable marriage, you're bringing this petition now. May I ask what's changed?
In my marriage, nothing. My husband has been a philanderer since the day we met, and his infidelity continued before the wedding, after it, and I can only imagine to this very day.
Objection, Your Honor. Surely not to this very day.
So why now, Mrs. St. George?
Because I've had enough, finally, of being disregarded and lied to. I also have 2 daughters, and I believe standing up to their father sends a message to my girls that they should never allow any man to undervalue them the way their father has me. And Mr. Summers, I'm loath to sound grand, But I am also here today for every woman in America who questions whether she has the strength to break free.
And on top of this, the way show engages with sensitive topics in season 2 just feels so exploitative. Season 1 understands that Seaton threatening Lizzie into silence is enough to make the point of how dangerous he is. But in season 2, they literally show us Jenny forcibly institutionalized, and we have an excruciating montage of her time in that facility and all the indignities she has to go through in that place. It's so gratuitous, and for what purpose? We already know Seaton is a vile, despicable, abusive man. There is no reason to show her institutionalized other than shock value for one, and to make the point that we already fucking know. Or let's compare actual verbal discussions relating to sexual relationships. Take this scene from season 1 about Richard's relationship with Miss Tess Valley.
How is she?
Perfect.
Hello. Oh, I missed you. I'm glad they're back. Do you think Mother and Father ever tickled us like this?
I don't know.
Can't imagine it. I sometimes used to pretend Miss Tess Valley was our real mother. It wasn't hard. She did all the things a mother should. We never had that, had we? Perhaps that's why we clung to her so, you the most.
That's not.
I found it all very confusing at the time. And I wonder if you did too. You were very young, just a boy, really. All those mornings, when your bed hadn't been
It
slept
wasn't
in.
your job to come looking for me, Honoria. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. It's okay. Shh, shh, shh.
I often think about that summer. Playing hide and seek. You always used to give yourself away, do you remember? You'd get the giggles the minute you knew I was near. But then she came. You stopped wanting to play. I don't think I saw you laugh again until you met Conchita.
Versus the St. George divorce trial and the line of questions that Patty was subjected to.
A wife has a duty to honor the man she married. Your husband provided an extraordinary home in a very nice neighborhood. Did you ensure his needs were met? Your intimate life together, was it satisfying?
That is none of your concern.
Mrs. St. George, the detail of your husband's intimacies is exactly what you have brought us here to ascertain.
We were intimate.
And your husband, you claim, was so insatiable, he also had to seek comfort elsewhere. So I imagine the intimacy between the two of you was always initiated by him. Mrs. St. George, a reminder you're under oath. While you believed your husband to be sleeping with numerous other women, who generally initiated the regular marital relations?
Me, I did. Not always, but often. In order to keep my husband coming home, I initiated it.
And what might have been a typical first move? Just as an example, Mrs. St. George, what was in your arsenal? A tender hand, perhaps? A whispered word?
I would sit on his lap.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The scene between Richard and Honoria doesn't outright come and say it, but it is so clear that Richard was groomed into that relationship. We understand why he hasn't been able to break away from his Tess Valley even now as an adult. We aren't given any explicit details because the point is not to turn Richard's abuse into a spectacle. The point is to give context to his dynamic with his parents and with Conchita. Meanwhile, the only point of the St. George divorce trial is to expose that Nell is Nan's birth mother, which could have been done in a billion other ways. That is the only reason why the trial matters at all, and it takes up an entire fucking episode. We spent an entire episode on this stupid divorce trial when we could have seen Nan working to help pass laws regarding gender equality. And when Patty is on the stand, she is forced to debase herself in public, and Nell is put in that position too. And while the show wants us obviously to feel revulsion on Patty's behalf, there is this element of eroticism to it as well, given the question of how Patty would initiate sexual encounters, as there is no purpose to this line of questioning other than to degrade Patty. This doesn't do anything in service of her character. We already know she's not easily ashamed. And besides Nan and her father seemingly fully severing ties as a result of the verdict, this plotline doesn't do anything for Nan's characterization either. Whatever, I feel like I could talk for days about how gratuitous and honestly grotesque season 2 was. There's just so much that is fundamentally wrong about the writing. From everything I've said, I think it's pretty clear that the focus shifted from being on the girls and their deep friendship to being about romance, or at least the drama that comes with romantic entanglements. Lizzie's entire role in season 2 is being caught in a love triangle. I have no idea what her interests are because every second of her screen time is devoted to pushing the Theo-Lizzie narrative. Hell, even the few sisterly moments of her and Mabel that the writers give us are still in service to pushing the Theo-Lizzie romance. Mabel is severely sidelined in season 2, and when she's around, it's about her relationship with Honoria or her mom's lack of acceptance. I've already talked about how Conchita's story is really wrapped up in Richard and her matchmaking business. I already ranted about how the show repeatedly says Nan has power, but we never see her utilize it. The only woman that I don't have a problem with her storyline, at least from a narrative standpoint, is Jenny. We see the trauma of her relationship with Stephen. We see her form a friendship with Guy, and it becomes very clear that she would trust him with anything. We see her struggling with motherhood, but fiercely loving her baby. Like, Jenny's story is actually really compelling. And that's more than I can say for the rest of the girls, because most of it is romantic drama or meaningless fodder. Anyway, if there is a season 3, I won't be back. This was utter bullshit that did a disservice to everyone I cared about and functioned primarily as a stupid sympathy tour for Theo, and I hate that motherfucker. Fan service ruined. Yet another show. What's new? So yeah, this was clearly a very frustrated video. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts, unless you're trying to defend Theo, in which case, I mean, feel free to leave a comment if you want, but I will probably not respond. I've talked far too much about that evil man. While making this video, I do not want to discuss him any further. If you liked this video, you can support me on Patreon, or if you don't want a monthly commitment, I also have a Ko-Fi for one-time payments. You can also like or comment or subscribe. That would help my channel. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!